Welcome, everyone. We're in a very special edition of the Innovation Alley podcast. Your hosts, Dan Blair, Mike Legary, with our extremely special guest, David Bernhardt. Welcome.
Good to be here.
So we had you on earlier this week. You've had a massive week. You were on Dragon's Den. You guys knocked it out of the park. You have subsequently launched an Indiegogo campaign to capture some of this momentum. So we wanted to talk to you a little bit about the background of the TwoCane, the campaign, and what you see next. So perhaps just to kick things off, what exactly is a TwoCane?
So a TwoCane is an elegant walking cane. It's
beautiful.
It comes in multiple colors. It's we spent a lot of time on ergonomics and design, but then there's more.
There's more.
There's more.
Oh, tell me more.
I've never been so excited.
Yeah, the TwoCane also morphs into what we call the Easy Up. So the handle splits, rotates, and it becomes, we like to call it a pogo stick. Some people call it a mustache. But it essentially becomes an Easy Up, so you can grab it from both sides and just push yourself up. Balanced on both sides.
Easy way out of the chair.
Easy way out of the chair. It's we see so many seniors struggling getting out of their chair that this is just something that came to us. So that's the one. But wait, there's more.
Oh-ho!
So on the future models, we'll have what we call the crutch mode. Locks into place there, and it becomes a full-size crutch. So anybody going through surgeries, they know that. Once you're done surgery, you end up on a crutch, then you end up on a cane before you end up walking. Yeah. So this is the perfect kind of in-between.
Hybrid.
Exactly.
It fits in the car, fits in the train, fits in the plane.
Exactly. You don't have to carry a walker with you. And it's they found that walkers actually diminish people's lives because at that point when you have to go to a walker, they feel like they've given up. And
How long until this unfolds into a walker, though?
Well, see, fancy you should mention that.
Oh.
It's also why it's called the TwoCane. It morphs into two canes.
They both pop out.
So it gives you the stability of a walker, but the ease and convenience of a cane. So, and then when you need that extra hand, you just slide them back together, marry the canes. Oh. They lock back into place, and
it's light. That's the one thing people can't see.
For sure,
it's remarkably light.
This is lighter than my grandpa's cane. That's for sure.
Yeah, and we're doing a metal core and a soft touch exterior, like a silicone type exterior. So when you hold on to it, you'll have a nice grip. So that's essentially the functions of the TwoCane, which it's making people's lives easier already. We've sent out a few prototypes, and people just love it.
I can see why. Like it is. Very quick, you can see this is something that you can carry around with you. It's very functional. But it's not just an old person thing. I can see it being useful for a number of different people, a number of different scenarios.
For sure, we've put surveys out to different groups, asking them what they want to see in a cane, and a lot of people, they just want color. It's surprising, and so one thing that we've introduced is on the next version of the cane, it'll have actually interchangeable color parts that you can, pull one color off. You want
customize your cane.
Exactly. You want a pink top, a blue bottom, a red, a red face. You can do that. So not only does it have all these functions, it's now interchangeable. There's accessories you can buy, and my background.
My cane.
Yeah, my background's in the automotive industry, so I don't want just the black and red cane.
Well, it makes perfect sense, right? People are customizing their phone cases all the time. They have their identity and they want it to be reflected and stuff.
Exactly, and we've left it open to be able to introduce technology into the cane. One thing that we found is right now the market demographic doesn't want technology at all. However, we see and not that far off, 3 to 5 years, people are going to want GPS. People are going to want a heart rate monitor, all that kind of stuff in their cane.
The smart cane.
Exactly, and with the TwoCane, that's the next step.
Awesome. So right now, you guys went on. Again, before Dragons, we talked about the fact that you guys actually won an award in the States. It was a medical trade show.
Yep, MedTrade, and we won the Gold Award for Best New Innovative Product.
So you knocked it out of the park there. You took a plane ride over to CBC.
Yeah.
You got funded from Dragons Den, is that right?
That's correct, yes. Yeah, we did an ask on Dragon's Den. In the end, we're working with them as a partnership for manufacturing.
Okay.
So they're helping source manufacturers and work with us that way, rather than giving us a cash deal. We didn't really go on Dragon's Den for cash, and I don't know how well it was explained. It was only a 6-minute episode. So so we went on there for connections, because we know that the relationships you have with the manufacturer make a huge difference when it comes to the quality of your product.
Okay, so you brought on a partner, you gave up the cash, so now the Indiegogo campaign makes sense. So now you're going crowdfunding. So tell us about the crowdfunding campaign. So what are we seeing? The campaign's been live for a couple of days. Why am I logging in here Saturday morning to check this out?
So it's been live for a few days. We've been seeing how things are going, and one of the things is to hear the real story about the cane, the true story. It's not just two guys sitting around a room thought it was a good idea and built a cane one day. It came from necessity. It came from the story, and I work. My business partner and friend Marco Longley is the one that's kind of introducing the cane. And
the good-looking guy on Dragon's Den beside you.
Exactly, the tall one. Who makes me look like I'm just yeah. So he's the one who's telling the story, and the reason Mark was telling the story is because of his injury. He was hit by a drunk driver when he was 29 and cycling, and so he's gone through over a dozen surgeries. Just recently, I think it's now on his 12th week, he's just had a spinal fusion, and so he's been working alongside of me for the last few weeks. Exactly, with a brand new spinal fusion, which to me is just insane. And so he tells the story of where it came from, his experience with different types of walking aids, and then where we're going, and how we really. At the end of the day, we're just two guys with big ideas, big hearts, and it just. I have an opportunity and a skill set that I can design things, and that's where it comes from.
Well, and this is pretty kick-ass, I have to admit. So this is something I know a lot of listeners. They may not need a cane themselves today, but I definitely guarantee they know someone who does. So again, from the Kickstarter, Indiegogo campaign, what can I get? So I actually can pre-order on the campaign right now to help someone out.
For sure. So you can the canes will be available, and there's multiple levels of cane. So you can get the first cane. It'll be coming in black and red. Okay. Standard colors. We went after Henry Ford. You can have any color as long as it's black. And then we'll later, further on in the campaign, there's different color options that'll be available, and then there's multiple sets of canes. We're also giving away one of our other products, which is the heft. Which,
there you go.
Yeah, the heft, which was seen on TV, and it's been great. We've saved over 300,000 people's backs all over the world.
Yeah, gave Rick Mercer some free material.
Exactly, and it was a great commercial Rick Mercer did. And then we're also we have our we call him Touc.
Hey,
it's our little toucan. So it helps out, and it's a little thing for grandkids, but it was a big hit. So it's all these little things that are helping. You're really just helping support manufacturing. We're as entrepreneurs, we're not drawing salaries off of Indiegogo. That money is strictly going towards manufacturing and finishing the engineering on the cane.
So that's a good thing you mentioned that, because we talked a lot about crowdfunding failures. And so, Zano was the big one we talked about a couple of weeks ago. When you look at that use of funds, really, what is the campaign really focused on? Like, is it I see a working prototype here, so I can actually vet. I see something. It looks
this
good.
Is rare. We get to actually see the product first.
So I know it exists for the people that are going to subscribe to the campaign here. But between the beginning of the campaign and the final manufacturing, what is getting out of that money?
So a lot of it is being a medical product. We need to go through engineering and some certifications. So we'll be going through those standards. Then with also going into tooling, a lot of the tooling is expensive. Our goal is to make as much over here in North America as possible, and we've been doing that with the heft is made in North America, and we want the cane. We're trying to make the cane here in North America, and it's So a lot of it is just it's going towards straight to the manufacturer for tooling, making the molds, and then making the product. It's one of those where we've done a few evaluations on what the product's going to cost, but I mean it's probably pretty close to what we'll be charging on our or what we are charging on our Indiegogo campaign. So it's not like we're raking in the cash. We're really, we're being very modest, and we're still putting, money from our own pockets into this.
So this is about the campaign sponsor, getting at the ground floor, getting something useful. It's being a part of the process.
For sure, it's getting something and getting something for friends and family. It's and saying you're part of it because it'll help out. And my biggest, I guess, what makes me smile the most is when I walk into a store, I see someone on the street using one of my products. There's no other. I'll tell you this. Maybe having a child. I don't have kids yet, but there's no other feeling like seeing your product being used or getting that email from somebody that said, "You helped my my father, my grandparents. Because of you, their life is better." And that's really what I want to do with this cane. And I think if you're helping fund the campaign, whether you're pre-purchasing the Toucane or the cane itself, I want you to be able to see this in on an airplane, in a ball game, in the mall, and I want you to say, "That's there because of me. That's there because I supported this campaign," and that's the truth.
That's awesome. So from an entrepreneur's perspective, you guys chose Indiegogo. Like, is there any particular reason why?
So with we chose Indiegogo because we like the fact that we can not extend the campaign but extend the purchases. So for us, we're running a 39-day campaign, but we don't have time and resources to set up a website, set up online ordering and shopping. So with Indiegogo, we're able to extend the purchase time. So after the campaign closes, you could still buy the Toucane to continue to pre-order, and so that's the main reason why we went with Indiegogo.
So right now, I guess from a listener's point of view, we've talked about the Toucane, we've talked about the campaign, but David Bernhardt, from an inventor perspective, you were one of the founders of AscentWorks. You've been involved heavily with the startup community in Winnipeg until you got pulled away from us to one of the coasts here. But maybe you could tell us a little bit about that transition. So you've had the ability to live in Winnipeg, help the community here, and now move on. How do you find entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship in Winnipeg? What is it like in contrast to, say, Vancouver or other places you've been?
I think there's a lot of entrepreneurial groups out there that are doing good things, building companies and working with startups. The one thing that I see about Winnipeg is, and it could be the Winnipeg mentality, it could be because it's so cold out that we don't do anything but work on projects all winter long in the shop, is the hands-on experience. I find that entrepreneurs here are willing to get dirty. And whether it's starting a company, and we were talking about this, all the roles you play in the company from the beginning. When I'm out in let's call it big cities, to not name names, but I find that everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Everybody wants a tech startup. Everybody wants that.
Of course.
But no one wants to do the work.
Oh, double, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to just snap your fingers and there it is.
Exactly. And so that's what I find here is people are on the ground, people are working, people are doing things, and you can connect with them. And then the community aspect is, I can, and the first time that I sat down with Mike, we talked a little bit about business, we talked a little bit about everything, we talked about failures, and that's one thing that people in Winnipeg, including myself, I will tell you all the failures that I've gone through, because I look at that as those are badges of honor. Those are things that's
our pride right there.
Exactly. That's how we learned. That's why we're in this room today, is because of all those failures. And it's something that people out in other places I've been to, they want to make it seem like they're always succeeding. And if somebody says they've never failed, then they're lying.
Yeah, I don't want to do business with them.
Well, that's exactly it. Even some of let's say some of the investors that have come in on a lot of my projects, I'll ask them straight up, what's your biggest failure? And if, I mean, none of them have not responded to that. All of them just like that.
Yeah, the one that hurt.
Yeah.
It's still there on the heart.
Exactly. So
or the checkbook. One of the
yeah, exactly. So it's one of those where the community here is really, you know, it is a community. It's helping everyone else, but it's also everyone's being honest and very modest. I call Winnipeg the city of the modest millionaires. Most, you know, what people assume millionaires are probably in t-shirts and jeans. The people who aren't millionaires are the ones driving the really nice cars.
That's true. So, you know, from a community perspective, very early on, between yourself and Carrie Stevenson, I learned all my 3D printing and true, really rapid physical prototyping skill sets from you guys. You know, what is important if you had to pitch to a politician or to a taxpayer what we should be focusing on building better accessibility for entrepreneurs? What should we be focusing on investing in local communities to get entrepreneurship, prototyping, the stuff, like the projects you're doing? How do we get those successful?
Well, I think it's part of we need to create first of all a space for people to come to. And get people out of their basements. There's a lot of, and that's the challenge, is a lot of people have been working alone for so long, they're used to working alone, and they don't realize there's a community out there. So it's just the outreach and able to bring those people together. You know, it's one of those things where if you have a space where people can get together and they feel comfortable is another one, because spaces like that, including, I've taken art classes, I've done just about everything, and getting people in is a little bit uncomfortable. So we need a comfortable space where people can come and they can feel like they belong. And then we need the tools to make it happen. So whether it's 3D printers, laser cutters, or CNCs, it's you know, it's just providing those tools to get them to the next level.
Reduce those barriers.
Exactly. It's I mean, I can make anything with a 3D printer, laser cutter, and CNC. It's just, and you know, any prototype, including 3D printing a car. Mm-hmm. It's, you know, and so it's just those things that you need to focus on. I would say those are your basics. You know, a room to get people together, a community to build it, and then tools to make things happen. And that's what we're seeing now is really stuff like this. I mean, I keep watching the news feed, and there's products being launched, whether it's on Indiegogo, Kickstarter, or on TV commercials that are now coming out of AscentWorks, which is insane. So it's, I mean, the
and many are yours, by the way.
Well, you know,
thank you for that.
But it's
perfect.
Yeah, it's one of those where anybody can do it. They just need to put the time in. And I always say, you know, a lot of my products are 8-year overnight successes.
Yeah.
And because things aren't going to happen overnight.
You know, a perfect example of that the transition I found, we had you know, Matthew Hudson and Jesse Marr on regarding the Clipper, and there's a perfect example of, you know, Matthew. He walked into the space, Scentworks. You know, we didn't know what he was all about, and you know, 5 years later, you know, he's tried yet another project. He's had some success. He's had some failures, and they knocked it out of the park with this one. And it was the same concept, right? The same community building on each other to make success.
For sure, when you're doing something on your own, then that means you have to probably hire somebody for every skill set. With a community-based product, you've got all your skill sets, you know, around you, and so, you know, part of it is, yeah, you have to you can take in everything, but you also have to give back. So if you have a skill set that people are looking for, it brings up the whole community, and I look at that. A lot of the products we're talking about today are mine, but there's other people's products who are up in space. I mean, it's crazy. And a lot of those, I talked to the guys, and they've helped me out. This one time, I remember we were sitting around in a circle, and we were passing around. We all had our products there. It was kind of a bit of a show and tell, and everybody would look at it and give their feedback. And if you would pay for an hour of all those people's time as consultants, you'd be in the tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah. And meanwhile, we're here just at at AscentWorks passing around products and giving our ideas.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference.
Oh, for sure. And you know, I could say that you know, everything from the heft to the TwoCane was part of that experience. And whether it didn't affect that product then and there, it it affected my mentality later on when I went to go design it. So it's all about learning.
Great. So I have one more question for you, and I'm going to ask, what is the number one piece of advice you have for that basement inventor? So there's all these people that are out and they're tinkering away in their basements. What's the number one thing you want to tell them?
To get out of their basements.
Perfect.
That's the truth. Is get out of your basement and don't be afraid to share your idea.
Perfect. Well, I think it's a good context. So, I think for the entrepreneurs listening, the at-home inventors, the wishful folks, Startup Winnipeg, which David helped found, Scentworks, Ramp Up Manitoba. These things were community-driven. So that community aspect he talked about, I know he believes that he helped every step of the way, getting the small momentum we have going. And, from a listener perspective, I hope you learned something about the TwoCane. We're seeing it right here. It's a great product. Please go visit the campaign, check it out, buy something for yourself, for your grandma, your grandpa, your aunt, your uncle, your kid, that needs some crutches here. It's an amazing Canadian product. Homegrown Winnipeg inventor here doing something great. So again, thank you very much for your time, David. It's hard to get, but I'm glad we could finally get some.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here, and good to see you guys again.
Not a problem. And again, so folks, check out the Indiegogo campaign. And from a questions point of view, David's committed to actually doing some back and forth. So if you have some questions, pop them off to info@innovationalley.com. And we'll get some responses out of him on a future show. So info@innovationalley.com. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.